Still loving cherry Coke. Hey everybody, it's Frozen, and I just thought I'd answer some more of your questions. Still have a ton to get through. I appreciate your patience. We will get through them. Just not sure how long it's going to take. Anyway, first question, just diving right in. Did you ever use the pole mod on your tarp setup? Who is the most impressive hiker you met? I only used the pole mod on my tarp once my entire thru hike, and that was only because the wind was coming in at a weird angle and blowing the tarp down onto me. And all the other times I had experienced wind, it was just blowing up underneath me. So perfect time to try it out. It worked great. Forget what night it was, but it was the night that we spent really close to a lake and then had pancakes in the morning. And as far as the most impressive hiker I met on the trail, it's probably a cross between two people. First one is Cnoc. He's the guy that wears the pink shorts. Really cool dude. He is a triple crowner, and just hearing a couple of his stories, especially the one he told later in the trip when I was close to finishing, he told us a story about how he got stuck in a blizzard in the San Juans while he was trying to take a zero. That was nuts just hearing that. And then the second dude, Hawk. Got to meet him at A-Ball Bridge and hang out with him at the campground that night and just listen to his stories about how he couldn't get through the White Mountains because there was too much snow this year. So he decided to do the long trail, come back, start the Whites over again, and then continue to Maine on his yo-yo, which unfortunately never ended up happening this year due to his dad's medical issues. But he's just an amazing person, an adrenaline junkie, and I really strive to be like Cnoc and Hawk. They are just the next level for me, if you know what I mean. Two great guys. I'll leave links to how to find them and follow them in the video description for those interested in checking them out. How was your foot after summiting? I'm the Morton's Neuroma guy. I have the same foot issue and was wondering if and how you were able to relieve that bunched sock feeling. I still have a minor Morton's Neuroma, if that's what it's called. I'm not sure, or if I have some other kind of issue, but yeah, it does feel like a bunched up sock in your shoe, and it really affects me in the mornings until I get the blood flow back in my foot, but I have not found a way to fix it. Granted, I've been pretty lazy with rolling out my foot with my blue massage ball. I should probably get back into it. I've been wondering about trail names. How do you get them? Are they like an honorary title that other hikers give you while you're out there, or do you get to pick it yourself? Normally you are given a trail name by somebody else because of something you did that was stupid or embarrassing or amazing, or just something that you've done on the trail, and that's how you get a trail name. In my case, and some other people's case, Bigfoot comes to mind where he named himself. Frozen is just a high school nickname that I picked back up in the 10th grade that kind of stuck with me. It's been with me forever. In fact, I have a video covering how I got my name Frozen, and you can check that out in the suggested videos. What would you say is your most important philosophical takeaway from your thru hiking experience? If I had to pick, I would pick that you shouldn't really care what people think about you, and don't change your personality for anyone. Your personality makes you yourself. Frozen, my hope and prayer is that you have successfully transitioned from a self-proclaimed introvert to more of an extrovert. How do you plan to maintain that personality from the trail? Thank you for allowing yourselves to join you on this fantastic journey. So I've noticed since I've been back from the trail, I'm actually talking to people a little bit more, in social situations. Like we just went bowling for Chrissy's friend's birthday, and I found myself talking a whole lot more than I would have to other people than I would have before the trail. So I don't think I'm going to try to go out of my way to change anything about that. If I stay extroverted or whatever, then that's fine, but I'm not going to change my personality to, make myself more extroverted. Breakfast oatmeal, how exactly did you prepare and eat? So what I do with my oatmeal, it's really simple and it creates no mess. I'm surprised a lot more people don't do this, in fact. But all you gotta do is boil some water in your pot and then put that boiling water inside the oatmeal packet and fill it up to the fill line. After a couple minutes, you can eat and enjoy, and it literally creates no mess at all. So check that out, really easy to do. At which point in the north did you quit seeing snakes? Did you see any rattlesnakes or copperheads on your thru hike? I think I saw some copperheads in Vermont. I can't verify that for a fact because their heads were underwater and it was just a little baby snake that I found on the trail. But I did see a rattlesnake my first day, I believe, in New Jersey. Now, as we got into New Hampshire, I really didn't see any kind of dangerous snakes. I mean, even the black snakes went away. And the only thing I saw were maybe little garter snakes, nothing to worry about. Ticks, did you encounter many? So for the most part, I was using permethrin on my clothes, which is kind of like a tick repellent, a bug repellent really. And I was good up till probably Pennsylvania when I started seeing my first ticks crawling on my legs. I think the whole trip I probably only saw 4 or 5 ticks. It really wasn't bad this year. And then as we got past New Jersey, I think that's when I stopped seeing ticks altogether. How much weight did you gain or lose throughout your thru hike? Did you take any measurements before or after to see, for example, how much your calves grew? What was your favorite state overall? In what ways did this trip give you a new perspective on thru hikes and thru hikers? I gained 15 pounds before I started the trail, and total I ended up, fluctuating back and forth between 135 and 150. And now I am 141 pounds, so I still have some weight I could lose. I ate a ton starting in Vermont, New Hampshire, Maine. I was always eating. And I didn't know how people lost so much weight. I guess I didn't have a lot of weight to lose, and the weight that I did have to lose, I lost anyway. And I'm trying to tone it down now that I'm home because I'm just snacking way too much. I feel like I'm gonna get super fat super fast. So I'm really watching it. Next week, I feel like I'm good enough to start working out and lifting a little bit again. My ankle's kind of healing up, and we'll go back to getting in shape again. As far as the measurements of body parts, I didn't take any measurements, but I do have a scale with some good body analytics, so I'll post those right here for you. As far as favorite states, we already talked about that in the last one, but pretty much any state but Pennsylvania. As far as my perspective on thru hikes and thru hikers, thru hike is a lot harder than I had expected it to be, just with the emotional challenges and then physical challenge later on when the terrain actually got tough. But I have a lot more respect for any thru hiker that made it the whole way, and thru hikes in general are just a lot more fun than I had ever expected. I know you'll be working full time now, but I can't imagine you not backpacking whenever you can. Will you be doing section hikes to keep the dream alive until you can do another thru hike someday? There are so many trails that need exploring. So like I've done the past 5 years with the channel, I don't plan on stopping any kind of 4 or 5 day, even weekend overnight trips, anything like that. I'll still do them on the channel. I have a ton of videos of just backpacking trips I did before the AT. If you guys want to check them out, I know a lot of you started joining on the AT thru hike, but this channel's been going for quite a while, and nothing is going to change on that, except I might try and get out and do more longer trails, like under 300 miles, under 200 miles, somewhere around there, because that's what I really like to do. I like to do longer trails. Big frameless backpack trend. Are they really that much more comfortable? What would you consider max weight load for a frameless backpack? So it's not that a frameless backpack is more comfortable than a backpack with a frame. In fact, I think it's the complete opposite. It's just that frameless backpacks don't weigh really anything. We're talking under a pound here for an entire backpack that holds 35 liters. For instance, my Light AF Curve 35 is about 13.2 ounces, sometimes lighter than that or heavier than that, depending on what hip belt I'm wearing. But for the most part, it's right around 13 ounces. And, I just really enjoy having the least amount of weight on my back, because I feel like the lower the weight on your back, the less chance I personally have of getting injured. And that's where that big thing comes from. There's a certain point where you don't need the weight transfer from your shoulders to your hips. And, I just think that there are people out there with a low enough base weight that don't really require a frame. And as far as max load for a frameless backpack, personally, I wouldn't go any more than 24 pounds in my Light AF. Why did you not use Cnoc bags on the trail? Is the bag you use better? So we're talking about water storage and filtration. This is the Cnoc bag that they're talking about. This is the bag that I used on the trail, an Evernew bag. Now, basically, both of these bags will do the same thing. They'll hold water and they'll allow you to filter your water into a clean container. But this one is more squishy and this one is more rigid. And to be honest, there's no problem with either one of these. It's just personal preference. I like a more rigid, hard plastic whenever I filter my water. And this kind of reminds me like a balloon, and I just don't like it. In fact, when this popped about, 1,200 miles in, I actually just went to using a simple smart water bottle that I specified as dirty water with a Sawyer squeeze on top of it, and that was just perfectly fine for the AT. Now, on areas where I need a little bit more water to carry, like the PCT, more than likely I'll bring some extra smart water bottles and be done with it. So I think I'm kind of done with the water bags, so I would just bring an extra water bottle. Do you wish you had done it slower to enjoy more time on the trail? No, I think, like I said before in the past couple QAs, I would do it at exactly the same speed. I thought it was the perfect pace for me. I'm curious how you think you will readjust to what was a normal life. We know things were bothering you before you left, so I guess I'm wondering if you think the hike will cure that or just make you dream of the freedom of the trail. I don't know how I could go back to the controlled life after all that freedom. To be honest, Dearless, I think the things that were bothering me on the trail, I think I fixed them. I don't think that it's going to be a problem for me adjusting to real life. We're kind of getting close to a possible face-to-face job interview. I've had several phone interviews this week, so it's kind of getting real, plugging back into the matrix type of stuff. And I'm ready to go back. I'm ready to start earning some money. I'm ready to get back into saving for the next thru hike, perhaps moving out of this house, starting a new opportunity somewhere, and just getting myself challenged again, I think was the big thing. I think I had just fallen into a routine, and when that happens, I needed to mix it up a little bit. And don't get me wrong, the trail definitely cured a lot of my issues while I was out there, but I don't think the normal life thing is gonna be a problem for me at all. But we'll see again. Do you think that your journey would have been completed or have left you with the same mindset and growth if you had not joined a Tramily? That is a really good question. I do not think it would be the same. I think I needed to meet my Tramily, as I said in the summit video. I think a lot of good things happened to me by being around other people and seeing the good in people. That being said, I did see the good in people with trail angels and trail magic that I experienced, just generally meeting just hikers on the trail, but spending time with my Tramily outside of the trail was what really helped me. Favorite piece of gear? That's a toss-up between my Dream Hammock Darien and my Light AF Curve 35. I'm not sure which one I would go with if I could only pick one. Were you surprised at the number of people on the trail who did or didn't know you from your videos? You met Artemis on the trail. Have you talked to her since she went dark after being called a yellow blazer? I was very surprised at the number of people that first of all came out to meet me, not even counting the people that just knew me in passing and said, hey, there's Frozen. I was amazed. I couldn't believe that so many people were following my journey, and the channel grew by leaps and bounds while I was out there, and I'm really appreciative of that because I think I'm reaching a brand new audience now, and I'm looking forward to going on adventures with you guys, so to speak. So the only thing that I knew about Artemis is that she was a cool person to hang out with at the NOC, the Nantahala Outdoor Center. I met her on a cold weather zero and really had no issues with her at all. In fact, I had a lot of fun with her. It was a fun zero. And a couple weeks after that, I believe, previous year thru hiker called her out for yellow blazing, or hitchhiking up the trail or skipping sections, whatever you want to call it. And basically her channel disappeared, and that's really all I know. I sent her a message saying, hey, just ignore anybody that's giving you a hard time, hike your own hike kind of thing. We're more than likely never going to know what happened. What kind of trekking poles would you recommend for day hikes in the whites? Ones that are fairly on the inexpensive side, but will last. So if you look in the video description, I'll give you a link to Cascade Mountain Tech trekking poles. They're decent design trekking poles. A lot of people use them, and they're fairly cheap and should work for you. Talk to me about the mental game. How did you deal with the monotony, homesickness, and boredom? I honestly didn't have a lot of time to be bored. I was always constantly doing something, whether it was hiking, vlogging, sleeping, eating, breathing, stuff like that, just living life out there. So boredom wasn't really a thing. I did get homesick toward the end of the trail, but I had, quick access to just call everybody I wanted to. I had Verizon cell service and pretty much had service almost the whole way up. It was pretty sketchy in Maine and New Hampshire, but most of the trail I had full 4G. And monotony, nothing was ever monotonous. I enjoyed hiking every day, I really did. Did you or any Tramily members wear contacts? Did you leave them in overnight? How do you deal with keeping them clean? Did you illegally hang your hammock in a stealth spot in the Smokies? Come on, be honest. All right, so the first part of that, I use a brand of contacts called Night and Days, and they allow you to leave your contacts in successfully for 30 days and 30 nights. You can wear them overnight, it's not a big deal. When I got to town, I would at least take them out for the night and put them in my eyes in the next morning. I never put them in on trail unless I had lost one or something, and I just had them mailed to me once a month and tossed the old ones, and that was how I did that. So highly recommend them. My eyes were very comfortable and still remain to this day. I've been using them for years, no issues. In fact, my eyesight has gotten better over the years. As far as me illegally hanging in a stealth spot in the Smokies, no. I endured 3 nights of loud snoring people, and that was the last time that I ever slept in a shelter on the AT, was the Smokies. So yeah, obeyed the rules. There were plenty of ridge runners checking to make sure everybody was obeying the rules, and really there were no opportunities to really stealth because the shelters weren't even full. That being said, I didn't have to go to ground at all during my entire thru hike except in the Smokies, and that was in a shelter. After selecting the site, how long did it take you to set up your hammock and tarp, including underquilt, ridgeline organizer, and be ready for bed on a normal day? Let's see, it took me about, I'd say anywhere between 15 and 17 minutes max to set up my whole hammock setup. And I think taking it down probably 10 to 15 minutes. As a fellow hammock camper planning an AT thru hike, what was your biggest challenge or inconvenience during the hike related to hammock camping, not counting the places you were required to sleep in the shelter? So there were absolutely no inconveniences as far as finding a spot or trees to set up on. The wind was a big deal, and I touched upon this throughout my thru hike and in the Big 3 video that I just released last week. If you're gonna do a thru hike with a hammock, make sure your tarp is wide enough, meaning enough coverage that the wind won't get to you under the hammock if you lower your tarp. Get a tarp with doors, definitely. I highly recommend it. And if you really want the safety net, look at getting an underquilt protector. That was something that I really wish that I would have had while I was out there. Anyway, that's it for these set of questions. I will keep doing these as I get time. Thanks, guys. See you on the trail.